Imagine this. You're constantly drained, walking on eggshells, questioning your worth, and feeling like no matter what you do, it's never enough. You're stuck in a cycle of negativity, manipulation, or outright emotional exhaustion. If any of this sounds familiar, you might be dealing with a toxic person or relationship. Toxic people come in many forms. Some are obvious, those who belittle you, control you, or make you feel small. Others are more subtle, using guilt, passive aggression, or playing the victim to manipulate you. And the worst part? Many times, you don't even realize it's happening until the damage is already done. But once you do, the real question is, how do you deal with it? The first and most important step is recognizing the toxicity for what it is. People often rationalize bad behavior. Maybe they're going through a tough time. Maybe they don't mean it. Maybe it's just the way they are. But making excuses for someone else's behavior only keeps you trapped. You have to call it what it is. If someone constantly drains you, controls you, or makes you feel like you're never good enough, that's toxic, no matter how much you care about them. Once you recognize it, the next step is setting boundaries. Toxic people hate boundaries because they thrive on control. The moment you set limits, they either push back harder or try to guilt you into removing them. But this is where you have to stand firm. If they constantly interrupt your peace, cut down on the time you spend with them. If they manipulate you into doing things you don't want to do, say no and mean it. If they gaslight you, trust your own perception over theirs. Boundaries aren't about punishing them. They're about protecting yourself. Now, here's the tough part. Letting go of guilt. Many toxic people manipulate through guilt, making you feel like setting boundaries is selfish. They'll say things like, "I've done so much for you. You're overreacting," or "You're being mean." But remember, protecting your mental and emotional well-being is never selfish. If someone truly cared about you, they wouldn't want you to feel miserable just to keep them happy. There's also the issue of confrontation. Some toxic people become aggressive when confronted, while others play the victim to shift blame. The key is not to get dragged into their emotional games. Stay calm, state your boundaries, and don't get pulled into unnecessary arguments. They want a reaction, because it gives them power over you. The less you react, the less control they have. Another crucial aspect is emotional detachment. Toxic people feed on your emotional investment. If they see that their words or actions get a strong reaction from you, they'll keep using them as a weapon. The moment you stop reacting emotionally, whether it's to their guilt trips, anger, or manipulation, you take away their power. You have to train yourself to see their behavior for what it is, a tactic. And once you see it, it loses its grip over you. Sometimes, cutting them off entirely is the only option. This is especially true for relationships that are abusive, highly manipulative, or consistently harmful. Walking away isn't easy, especially if you've known them for a long time, but staying in a toxic situation just because it's familiar is like staying in a burning building because you don't know what's outside. You deserve better, even if it takes time to rebuild. Healing from a toxic relationship takes time. You might feel a mix of relief, sadness, and even doubt. That's normal. Toxic people condition you to feel dependent on them, so when you break free, there's an adjustment period. But over time, you'll notice something. The weight lifts, your energy returns, and you start to feel like yourself again. Dealing with toxic people isn't just about removing them from your life. It's about reclaiming your own power. When you stop letting them dictate your emotions, manipulate your choices, or drain your energy, you take control back. And that's something no toxic person wants, but it's exactly what you need.